Fallout 4, man, it's a crazy game. One minute you're trying to survive a nuclear explosion, and the next minute you're being super bored in a barren, empty wasteland with nothing to do. Hey, wait a second, that doesn't sound very crazy. Oh no. I just realized this game isn't very good. What am I gonna do? Well, I guess there's really only one thing I can do. Compared to Skyrim, of course. I mean, what else do I do on this channel? Literally nothing. But rather than just insult Skyrim like I usually do, I decided that today we could flip the script. Oh, wait a second. Well, now I can't read the script. I'm just gotta put this back. Well, anyway, I just figured that since this game is so terrible, instead we could talk about the 5 things that Skyrim did better than Fallout 4. When I heard that Bethesda opted for a voice-acted main character for the newest Fallout entry, I was pretty concerned. I mean, one of the best things about Skyrim is how immersed you can get in your character. And it would be pretty difficult to do that if your guy doesn't sound the way you imagine him sounding. I mean, what if your character's like Batman or something? In your mind, he would sound like this.
I am Batman!
But in reality, you wouldn't be getting that. Instead, you'd be getting this.
Have you seen anything dangerous?
I mean, come on. That's not Batman. Can't fool me. However, I can honestly say that this whole voice-acted dialogue thing is even worse than I could have possibly imagined. I mean, not only are you stuck with having to listen to a voice that doesn't fit your character, but you can't even change it at all. There's not even a voice slider like you might get in Soul Calibur or something. But it gets even worse because not only do you have to listen to this guy's dumb voice, but it's not even in first person. It's in third person. Why? I mean, it's not even good third person either. It's just like randomly the camera changes and now you're looking at yourself. Skyrim didn't do that. I don't understand why they needed to do this. I mean, the way it worked in Skyrim was pretty good, to be honest. I mean, I preferred the way it worked in Oblivion better, but, still wasn't as bad. At the very least, I don't need all this stupid camera angle crap. I'm not watching a freaking movie. Also, what the hell is this? A one-word dialogue option? Sarcastic? What do you mean sarcastic? I don't even get to know what the guy's gonna say. So it's just a roll of the dice as to whether you pick the right option. Not that it matters, because you basically get the same result anyway. I mean, Dragon Age 2 did a better job than this. That game sucks. But do you want to know what the real saddest part is? It's that the voice acting isn't even that good.
Damn. I'm sorry, but I've got another favor to ask. Do you think you could go help out with the settlement?
Frickin' Fallout. Get out of here. When I saw Fallout 4's perk system, I was honestly pretty impressed. I mean, you actually get to pick your stats from the beginning? That's great! Certainly a lot better than Skyrim, where you get literally no choices about your character's playstyle and character creation. I mean, come on! What if I want to be a super cool alchemist? You can at least let me start with a slightly higher stat for that. But no, Skyrim! You just stuck, didn't you? You friggin'... I'm sorry. I forgot what this video was about. Anyway, Fallout 4 honestly seemed like it was going back to its RPG roots, which is something I am all for, because RPGs are the best, honestly. But as I started to use the perk system, I began to realize that there was a big problem. Because in Fallout 4, there really isn't any consistency in this whole thing. Like with agility, you would imagine, as I imagined, that this would be all about being sneaky and thiefy. But no, instead it's just kind of random. Seriously, I mean, Commando? What the hell is that doing there? There's nothing to do with agility. And why is pickpocket in perception? I mean, I guess I can see lockpicking, but still, if anything should be in perception, it should be scrounger, since that literally has to do with perception. But no, it's in luck. How does that make any sense? Who made this, a friggin' chimpanzee? Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is because of all this, it prevents you from actually making any specialty class of character. Because instead, you have to put some of your points in every single one of these branches. In other words, the only actual class of character you can play as is the Jack of all trades, also known as the Master of None. And it just sucks, honestly. It sucks a lot. Friggin' Skyrim. Okay, so I will admit I am not the biggest fan of Skyrim's user interface. Personally, in my opinion, it just doesn't mesh very well with the rest of the game. I mean, this is a medieval fantasy experience, and you would expect the UI to reflect that. But, unfortunately, it does not. In Fallout 4, however, the user interface does fit the game. I mean, it's literally on your arm. That's pretty friggin' immersive. But the only problem is, it's terrible, and I hate it. I mean, for one, if I happen to find a sweet new piece of gear and I want to see if it would look super rad on me, I'm out of luck, because instead all I get to see is this. Yeah, sure, I could enter into the inspect screen, but honestly, I shouldn't have to. Besides, it's not like that's very helpful either. And look, I will admit that Skyrim doesn't make it that easy to find out either, but at least I can get a clear image right here. I don't have to go into the inspect mode. And if I want to see how it looks on me, I can just go into third person mode, and I can see myself through the UI perfectly without needing to leave all these stupid screens. And if you're about to tell me that I should be more concerned with the stats than my appearance, then let me tell you that the whole stats thing sucks too. Like, what the hell is this? 1+? How much is that? I don't know. I don't have to worry about that in Skyrim. Instead, I get a very clear answer right there. You know, honestly, everything about Fallout 4's user interface kinda sucks. I will admit though, you can solve some of these problems by getting the Fallout 4 Pip-Boy app for your phone. But let's be honest, if your UI is so terrible that you need to get an app for your phone just to solve the problem, then that's pretty bad. The one thing I've always praised Skyrim for is its world. It's just so well done. I mean, everywhere you look, there's something to see and discover. And even the most basic of objects have purpose. Like a book on a table that hints to a secret past. You know, little things like that that make the world feel so believable. Even the dumb stuff in Skyrim is useful, like that candle. It's dumb, trust me. However, when the minds at Bethesda decide to make Fallout 4, they seem to have forgotten that part. Or maybe they didn't have time for it, I don't know. But either way, this game feels pretty empty. And yes, I realize that this is a post-apocalyptic world and it's supposed to feel empty, but that doesn't mean it has to be boring. I mean, where's all the meaningful stuff? Sure, you might find a random oil can here or duct tape there, but very rarely do you find something that actually provides more depth to this place and the people that live there. Instead, most of this stuff is just there because the player might need it. And I don't just mean out in the wild either, because even the places where people actually live still feel pretty empty. Which is really too bad, because Bethesda used to be the best at world building. Some say it's CD Projekt Red, but come on. Really? Bethesda was the best, and Skyrim is the most detailed world they've ever created. But Fallout 4 is quite possibly the least detailed world. Well, alright, Arena was pretty lacking in detail too, but cut them some slack. I mean, they made that game in like 1990 BC. You know what I'm saying? But there's no excuse for this. It's just an unfinished, empty wasteland, barely touched by man or game developer alike. Where's the detail? Where's the purpose? It's gone. And unfortunately, it may never be coming back. Skyrim is quite possibly the most replayable video game ever created. I mean, sure, it doesn't give you a lot of choices when it comes to how you want to interact with quests, but there is one thing that it does do exceptionally well, and that is let you be whoever the hell you want to be. Do you want to be a blacksmith whose only goal is to be the best blacksmith that ever lived? Or at least better than that dumb guy.
I hope to be as good as Rowlan Greymane someday. Man Steel is legendary.
Oh, come on. His stuff isn't even that good. Give me a break. Freaking best smith. I see through your lies. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is even though the quests are basically the same every time you play them, they are still worth replaying because of the vast majority of playstyles in the game, which allows you to appreciate these quests and the game in general in a whole new way. And the lack of any specific backstory helps, as it allows you to imagine your character in whatever way you want to. But in Fallout 4, that's not the case. For one, your character has a very specific backstory with a very specific storyline and motivations. Do you want to name your character Bruce Wayne with the intention of being Batman but in a post-apocalyptic world? Well, too bad, because you're some merry guy who served in the war and you have a kid, but now the kid is gone and you have to get the kid back. But you really can't stray from that because your guy's always talking about how he had a kid or whatever. Look, you probably get what I'm saying. It's hard to try and enjoy this game in a new way when it's constantly forcing you to enjoy it in a very specific way. And the perk system certainly doesn't help either, that's for sure. I mean, I'm not saying this game isn't replayable at all, but it's certainly not as replayable as Skyrim. And considering it's the replayability that keeps Skyrim alive today, I would say that's a pretty important factor to think about. Alright, enough of this. I'm getting jitters praising Skyrim so much. So I think it's time we move on to the next video. I'll see you there. Vampires! They're everywhere! They're in movies, they're in comic books, they're in your closet, but most importantly, they are in video games, like Vampire and Blood Rain and that Skyrim DLC, I guess. I don't know. But if you really want the ultimate vampire experience, then the game that you should be playing is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. This game has it all. It's got vampires. That's pretty much all you need.
What? You're joking, right?
No, what? Why would I be joking? It's a vampire video game. I mean, what'd you expect?
Not like a blah, blah vampire, right?
Oh, now I see how it is. Blah, blah, blah. They don't do that. Get out of here. Can't believe the nerve of some people. Anyway, as I was saying, blah, blah, blah. If you haven't played Vampire the Masquerade, then you are seriously missing out. This game is hands down amazing. Well, as long as you install the unofficial patch, that is, because otherwise, this game is just a broken, buggy, garbage pile of junk that no one would ever want to play. But as long as you do install the patch, then this game is pretty great. Easily on par with the likes of Oblivion and something else, probably. But I'm digressing, because what we are really here for is to check this game out. But before we can, we have to decide what type of vampire we want to be. And as you can tell, there are a lot of choices. Anything from your classic Dracula type to the stuffy high-class vampires you might find in the underworld movies. Unfortunately, though, there are no sparkly vampires. I know you were all hoping for that, but I guess the developers just didn't get the memo. Now, unlike in games such as Oblivion, the race that you pick in this game will have an impact on your experiences. For example, if you decide to go with the Nosferatu, then you won't ever be able to show your face in public. Well, I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but it might not go over well.
Yeah, what'll it be? Lord! Oh, sweet Jesus! Oh.
Jeez, what a drama queen. I'm not that hideous. Oh, she's actually dead. Oh. Of course, this is the most extreme example, and if you choose any of the other races, you will be able to play the game normally. And by normally, I just mean people won't die upon seeing your disgusting face. So if you prefer it that way, then don't you worry. Alright, now we're finally in the world of Vampires the Masquerade, also known as California. I mean, where else would you expect to find a bunch of undead bloodsuckers, am I right? However, before we can even sink our vampire teeth into this fine city, we are given a quest by the Prince of Vampires himself. Sebastian LaCroix. Wait, LaCroix? You know, that name sounds really familiar, but I just can't place it. It's probably nothing. Anyway, now that we're actually able to play the game, it's time to start doing some vampire stuff, which involves everything you might expect. Biting necks, drinking blood, doing some modeling for some creepy guy at a prosthetics shop. You know, the huge.
Why, yes, that sounds delightful. Perhaps you could come down to my studio and we can sort out the details.
Yeah, dude, I could totally do that. That sounds great. Actually, you know what? I'm not so sure about this modeling job anymore. I mean, call me crazy, but this place looks sketchier than an Etch-a-Sketch. Now, as you can probably tell, there are quite a few spooky quests in this game. Like this one with a ghost, which I'm pretty sure is loosely based off The Shining. I mean, I don't know for certain, but there is a guy with an axe, and it's in a hotel, and there's some shiny stuff. So I'm just gonna say definitely based off The Shining. Probably. However, as spooky as this is, I wouldn't go as far as to say that any of these quests are actually that scary. Although maybe you shouldn't take my word for it, because I don't get scared that easily. Holy crap! Alright, fine, I'll admit it. I get spooked about as easily as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Now just leave me alone. Jeez. You know, I'm getting tired of all this crazy vampire stuff. I need to take a break. And I know the perfect place to do that. The local nightclub. I mean, what better place is there to get away from all the craziness of the world? You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. Hey baby, you want some vampiric diseases?
Even if my pants were on fire, I would not take them off in front of you.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that line was gonna work. Well, I guess the next thing to do is to hit up the dance floor. That way I can really show off my newfound undead abilities. Oh yeah, I'm feeling this. Hey, wait a sec, where's everybody going? Fine, I don't need you anyway. Just means more floor to myself. Freaking humies. Now, as great as all this clubbing stuff is, you still have to be careful, because if people ever find out that you're a vampire, then that could mean some serious trouble. So our #1 goal is to remain incognito, which honestly should be pretty easy. I mean, just look at us. There's no way anyone would be able to tell. So I'm not that worried about it, really.
Oh man, you're a vampire, aren't you?
Oh, son of a bitch. All right, I'm gonna have to kill you now. Nothing personal, just vampire business. Now, all joking aside, it can actually be rather difficult to stay hidden, especially when you're trying to feed off one of the locals, because at any moment, some hobo could just stroll up and catch you in the act. But if you don't feed and your blood meter gets too low, then that could be even worse, because suddenly, the beast will take over. And trust me, we do not want that. I mean, just look at this. Look at those legs. No wonder why these people are so terrified. No human would be able to do that, that's for sure. Also, I should mention mention, this loud noise definitely isn't annoying. Ugh, it's like music to my ears. If I was deaf. Okay, so as you can probably tell, this game isn't perfect. As a matter of fact, there are quite a few issues you might face while playing it. And some of them aren't that big of a deal, like the weird leg issue or whatever's happening here. I mean, I'm not complaining because this is pretty convenient, to be honest. But there can be some pretty inconvenient bugs as well, such as sometimes you can't put your weapon away, and now all the cops want to kill you. Or better yet, sometimes when you load a save, your character will immediately attack with whatever weapon they had equipped. And if a person is standing nearby, they're gonna get hit, which as you can probably guess means the cops are gonna want to kill you again. Those freaking cops. However, not all the issues are bugs. For example, I really wish you could edit your character. I mean, I realize it's in first person most of the time, but it still would have been nice. At the very least, let me change my outfit more often. The first time you actually get new clothes is when it's almost the end of the game. Why? What's even the point of having different clothes if you don't get them for that long? It's dumb. And then of course there's the problem with weapons, in that you spend most of the game with garbage weapons as well. I want a sweet sword, I don't want this stupid kitchen knife. I'm a vampire, not a McDonald's chef. Now, on the contrary, you do get a lot of decent guns, so if you're into that, then you're gonna be happy. But personally, I like the melee aspect of the game a lot better. And I should also mention that I'm kinda disappointed by the lack of danger from the sun. I mean, that is a big enemy of the vampire after all. They even mention it in the beginning of the game.
Sunlight? Well, you catch a sunrise and it's all over, kiddo. Get it?
I mean, after hearing that, I was expecting it to be a big factor, but you never have to worry about it. Instead, it's just nighttime all the time, which is really too bad. It would have been cool to have to pay attention to the time for fear of getting fried to a crisp. Certainly would have made the game way more immersive, that's for sure. But hey, maybe that's just me. However, out of all these issues, the one that really gets me, the biggest gripe I have with this game, is how the hell did they get these cars in this garage? I mean, look at this. There's barely any room to drive in here. Nonetheless, park. It's ridiculous. You know, as a matter of fact, this whole game is ridiculous. Especially that Prince of Vampires, Sebastian LaCroix. Pfft, what a loser. I mean, seriously. Wait a second. LaCroix? I knew that name sounded familiar. Oh my god! Well, that was a crazy revelation. I think at this point, I'm just gonna have to see you in my next video. I mean, I don't know which one it is, but it's pretty good. Or it's bad.